No one noticed when I disappeared. It didn't happen all at once. I didn't wake up one day and decide to leave everything behind. It was slower than that, quieter, like a light dimming, one shade at a time, until the room looked the same but didn't feel like home anymore. I stopped answering messages first, then I stopped sending them. I said no to plans or just let them fade without reply, and no one really pushed. No one asked why. At first, it felt like freedom, like I was finally giving myself space, but it didn't take long before that space started to echo. I'd sit on the edge of my bed staring at my phone, waiting for something, anything, to come through. A "where are you?" a "we miss you," but the screen stayed quiet. People moved on, as they always do. Life has a way of filling in the empty spots without much effort. I still went outside, I still bought groceries, nodded to the cashier, held doors open for strangers. But those moments felt scripted, like I was playing the part of a person instead of being one. I watched others with their headphones in, laughing on the phone, holding hands, existing with purpose. And I wondered if I had ever truly done that, or if I'd just gotten good at pretending. One day, I walked past a cafe I used to go to all the time. My name was probably still written somewhere on their Wi-Fi log. I stood outside for a minute, watching the people inside. Heads tilted over laptops, baristas calling out orders, someone tapping their foot to music only they could hear. It looked like a life I once belonged to, but it didn't call to me anymore. I turned around and kept walking. I didn't disappear in a dramatic way. I didn't pack a bag and vanish. I was still there. Same apartment, same street, same quiet footsteps. But I became see-through. People's eyes moved past me in conversations. Group chats continued without me. Birthdays passed, invitations stopped, and eventually, I stopped noticing too. There were days I didn't speak at all. Not because I couldn't, just because no one asked me to. No calls, no unexpected visits, no accidental conversations. Silence became the default, not the exception. And at some point I realized I was starting to forget the sound of my own voice. It was like living behind a glass wall. I could see everything happening around me, I just couldn't feel any of it. I started writing things down. Little notes, unfinished thoughts, grocery lists I never planned to follow. It wasn't about remembering, it was about proving I existed, that my hands had moved across paper, that I had made something, however small. Because when no one's watching, even the most basic actions start to feel unreal. One night, I passed by a group of people laughing outside a bar. The kind of laughter that spills out of you, messy and loud and free. I stood across the street, watching. Not envious, not bitter, just separate. Like I had slipped into a version of the world where joy was something you observed, not something you felt. Sometimes I thought about reaching out, sending a message, dropping into a conversation just to see if anyone would notice. But I never did. Not because I didn't want to, but because I wasn't sure what I'd say. "Hey, remember me? I disappeared and no one asked why." It sounded too heavy, too desperate, too real. So I stayed quiet. I let the silence grow. And in some strange way, it began to feel like company. Not comforting, just familiar. It wrapped around me like a coat I never wanted to wear, but didn't know how to take off. Eventually, the silence became too loud. Not in a dramatic way, not like screaming into a void. More like the hum of an empty refrigerator, always there in the background, reminding you that something isn't quite right. I started craving noise again. Not the kind that comes from crowds or parties, but the kind that means someone knows you're there. A ping, a knock, a simple, "Hey." I opened my messages one day and scrolled through names I hadn't seen in months. Some felt familiar, others like echoes of a different version of me. I didn't know what I was looking for. Maybe proof that I hadn't been erased completely. I hovered over one name. We used to talk about everything and nothing. I typed, "Hey, how are you?" and stared at it for a full minute before deleting it. I wasn't ready, but I was closer than I had been. It took weeks before I sent a real message. Nothing deep, just a meme. Something light, no context, no expectations. And to my surprise, they replied. Not instantly, not dramatically, just normally. As if I'd never left. As if the space between us had never stretched, wide and quiet. We talked. Not about what happened, just about what was happening now. And somehow, that was enough. I didn't rejoin the world all at once. There was no big return, no announcement. Just small steps. A comment on a post. A walk with someone I used to see every week. I started answering messages again, then sending them first, then showing up. Slowly, gently. I didn't explain where I'd been, no one asked. And maybe that used to hurt, but now, I think I understand. People don't always notice when someone disappears, but sometimes they're still glad when you come back. If this story stayed with you, there are more waiting. Subscribe for new mini audiobooks every day, and thank you for listening.